Hey everyone, Donald Lowry here, and I'm the marketing director for Contra Radio Network. You know what helps me sleep well? Physical gold. Gold IRAs help people diversify. The best gold IRA company is Augusta Precious Metals, with thousands of happy customers. Learn why Americans get gold IRAs. Get Augusta's free guide. Text CONTRA to 68592. That's CONTRA to 68592. Or go to AugustaPreciousMetals.com. That's AugustaPreciousMetals.com.
Welcome to the Jeffers Brief, only on Contra Radio Network.
Oh, hello again, Intelligentsia. As you can tell, our new sponsor, and we welcome them on board, is Augusta Precious Metals. Thank you for being our sponsor. And what I want to do is this. You know, what you need to understand about gold and silver IRAs. Don't ask me. I don't know. But I want to get one of their people on the show so we can ask them these questions. These are important to know. Not for me. Not for you. For everyone. We need to know these things. We see them all the time. People talk about them. What are they? How do they work? We need to know this. And Augusta Precious Metals has decided to partner with us, Contra Radio Network, the Jeffers Brief, and the Lightning Round with Dave Kirshner. So, my friends, we are going to have them on there. We're going to talk a little bit more about this. This is important stuff. Like I said, you've heard of, I've heard about it every time we turn them on, turn on TV, the radio, they're talking about, that gold IRA, silver IRAs. Okay, we know what an IRA is, but how does it work? I mean, there's a lot of questions I want to ask, but that's me, and I want to get them on here. That's why it's very important. So I say, welcome to Augusta Precious Metals, coming to you today and every day from the Augusta Precious Metals studios right here. Yes, yes, yes. I am so glad to have them with us. I really am. You have no idea, guys, really. But anyways, thank you again. I am so glad they are here. So, with that said, where did that go? I'll tell you, I swear I'm gonna lose my mind one day. Yep. See, I gotta do all my own stuff here. I don't get to have somebody do it for me. I gotta do it myself. It is what it is. What are you gonna do? Trust someone else to do it? Right. That'll be the day. In the meantime, again, welcome to the Jeffers Brief. Yes. So let's get started. So we got a lot to go through here, and we're going to be doing a lot of things, believe it or not. Where do we start? So much, and yet so little. We're just going to take it as it pops up on the screen. How's that? That works. Does that work for you? Hold on. Let me see. Where did this go? Did you do that? Wait a minute. Okay. Which bastard screwed around with my stuff? I will find it. I will. I just don't understand where. Really? That's what come on. It's always something going on that screws up everything. First day, never had a problem. Now we've got problems. It's nothing that can't be fixed. It's that. Do I want that? Let me see. Okay. All right, got it. Found it. All right, very good. Yes. Where did that go? Bring it back. Bring it back. There you go. Ah. Screwing with me. All right. Where do we start? All right. We're going to take a trip back here because this whole thing with Biden and it's all coming to a head. Which reminds me, speaking of failures and closures, Stitcher, in case you didn't know, is ceasing operations on August 29th, 2023. My friends, we do have some listeners that do check in with us on the Stitcher platform. At the end of this month, they're done. They're closing up shop. So find yourselves on another platform. There's plenty of platforms. Go to Spotify. We're on Spotify. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on a bunch of different platforms. Go to the website, ContraRadioNetwork.com. Go there. It will have a list of platforms that we're on. Choose one. Be happy. But I want to give you a heads up. So when you go to choose it in September, you come to listen and you can't find Stitcher because Stitcher is no longer there. They ceased operations. So, meanwhile, the investigators have told, the FBI has told the Hunter Biden investigators to avoid Congress's questions. Why? So, the committee is looking into whether officers investigating Biden's tax affairs and his line about drug use on a gun permit gave him preferential treatment. No, that did not give him preferential treatment. No. It's who he's related to that gave him preferential treatment. And the fact that the FBI and Department of Justice cannot be trusted. They have become politicized, as has the entire judicial system. Which is unfortunate because now no one can be sure if they're getting a fair shake or not. And that's why people are asking, give me a fair shake. Now, let's be honest here. If it was me who lied about my drug use on a gun permit, or I'd be in federal prison right now. I'd be on federal parole. Let's be honest, shall we? No, there's a two-tiered justice system here. That's going on. Now, FBI counsel Jason Jones sent a letter to the supervisory agent whose name has been redacted. They use that redaction way too much. Okay? And they did it just hours before they were set to testify before the committee. He told the agent to, quote, instead refer such questions to the FBI's Office of Congressional Affairs. Why? So they can hide the answer? They can lie? I guess the bottom line is this. Does it really matter? You and I would not be getting this treatment. That's all there is to it. That's the truth of the matter. Next up. What happens when a nuclear bomb detonates in space? We've done it. Alex Havesi over at slashgear.com. He wrote this on July 18th. I thought it was interesting. I wanted to share it with you. With the upcoming release, with the release of Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, it's a dramatization of the life of J. Robert Oppenheimer, and creation of the first ever atomic bomb. Atomic weapons in their history are on the minds of the public again. Yes. As unfortunate as it is, atomic weapons have been a part of the public conversation since their existence was revealed to the public after the United States detonated 2 atomic bombs on the imperial Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. though it forced the last remaining Axis forces to surrender in 1945, it came at a cost. You know, I worked, one of my coworkers many years ago, his grandmother was late for the train, and she was living in World War II Japan. And she was late for work because she missed the train to Nagasaki on that morning. And because she missed the train, he's alive today. Just thought I'd share it with you. It's a true story, by the way. Now, with the effects of nuclear weapons on the ground that fortunately very well documented, it's worth asking, you know, what would happen if a nuclear weapon was detonated in space or just inside the atmosphere? It seems fairly far-fetched, as the concept was a plot point in the 2009 video game Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, when a nuclear missile launched by a Russian submarine detonated above D.C. Now, despite the rest of the plot being mostly hyped-up nonsense, nuclear weapons have been detonated in space. And there are pictures of it. Now, a nuclear weapon test that was dubbed Starfish Prime was conducted on July 9th, 1962 by the Los Alamos National Laboratory. Or do you say laboratory? Either one is fine. Now, the team aimed to see what would happen if a 1.45 megaton nuclear bomb was detonated 250 miles above the Pacific Ocean. Now, for reference, a 1.45 megaton bomb has roughly 100 times more power than the Hiroshima bomb. From a visual perspective, the explosion was reportedly a sight to behold, as it looked like the aurora borealis was happening over Hawaii. For thousands of miles, spectators could see flashes of red, green, and blue streaks across the sky for about half an hour, according to the Smithsonian Magazine. Now, after it exploded, the hydrogen bomb let off an EMP that fried electronic devices and knocked out power 1,000 miles away in Hawaii. Additionally, Telstar, the very first communication satellite for AT&T, was damaged by residual radiation a day after the launch and eventually knocked out of commission by later nuclear tests. The test was successful in as much as both the Soviet Union and the United States realized they shouldn't amp the tonnage and do it again. The Limited Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, signed the next year in 1963, banned high-altitude tests like Starfish Prime from happening again. If a larger bomb were ever set off in space, as unlikely as that is, one could imagine that the resulting technological toll would be extremely heavy, as power would likely be disrupted over a large portion of the land mass below. So with the cessation of the Cold War and the collapse of the Soviet Union, the risk of all-out nuclear war has dropped precipitously, allowing for at least a measure of ease regarding the possibility of such an airborne attack. There are pictures, and you can see Starfish Prime. There's also, get this, some old video that was taken. Right, Banj? So you can find that. It's out there. Oh, that reminds me. What do I got to do here? Oh, yeah. Okay. Take a break real quick.
Have you or someone you know ever had a hard drive crash? Or maybe your cell phone or tablet died, taking all of your pictures with it. You've thought about backing up your data, but all of the plans out there cost too much money for just a little bit of storage space. Well, now there's a solution. Got Backup? That's right, Got Backup will allow you to back up unlimited devices, up to 6 terabytes of data for only $9.97 a month. And that's not all. You can earn commissions by referring friends and family too. Got Backup is the only data storage center that allows you to earn income on your referrals. Check out Got Backup now. Log on to john-jeffers.com. That's john-jeffers.com. Log on now.
Log on! Be my customer. Come on. People are getting this show for free. Come on.
Hey everyone, Donald Lowry here. and I'm the marketing director for Contra Radio Network. You know what helps me sleep well? Physical gold. Gold IRAs help people diversify. The best gold IRA company is Augusta Precious Metals, with thousands of happy customers. Learn why Americans get gold IRAs. Get Augusta's free guide. Text CONTRA to 68592. That's CONTRA to 68592. Or go to AugustaPreciousMetals.com. That's AugustaPreciousMetals.com.
All right. Do it. Now, patriotism's in free fall. Did you know that just 39% of U.S. adults and 18% of young people are extremely proud to be American? Among younger adults, less than a fifth are highly patriotic. So, and there are a large number of Americans who want the January 6th, attackers pardoned. I'm going to tell you something right now. If that was an insurrection and an attack on the U.S. government, it's the dumbest, lamest attack I've ever seen. No firearms, no explosives, yet somehow the massive federal government of the United States felt somehow they were threatened with insurrection. They're everywhere. They're in my office. Americans are growing ever less keen on being American. That's what a new poll shows. So Gallup research has found the share of U.S. adults expressing pride in their nation has declined steadily for 2 decades. Currently, just 39% say they're extremely proud to be an American. And for young adults aged between... How is a young adult aged between 18 and 34? Shit. If 34 is a young adult, I'm 60. I should be a freaking teenage adult, I guess. I don't know. Only 18% say that they're extremely proud of their nationality. Well, that's because they are subjected to public school indoctrination from the left, day in, day out for 18 years. More if you decide to go on to higher education. Now, Gallup said that patriotism had reached a record low point, suggesting it was linked to the nation's increasingly partisan politics. Party affiliation doubtless plays a role too, researchers said. Really? So, if you want to look at it this way, here, let's do this. If you're aged 18 to 34 years old, your political affiliation is Republican, 42% of you are extremely proud to be an American. If you're an independent, only 25%. And if you're a Democrat, only 12%. Now, are we not surprised about the Democrats? Of course not. We know who they are. We know what they are. Now, if you're 35 to 54, 64% that age group, Republicans, extremely proud. Independents, 39%, and the Democrats, 25%, bringing up the rear as usual. And then 55 and older. Again, if you're a Republican, 68% of you extremely proud to be an American. If you're an independent, 48%. And, of course, the Democrats at 38%, 55 and older. Well, they only like them then because, well, they're getting their Social Security. There you go. I mean, that's what it is. So attitudes, if you think about it, have shifted markedly this century, which has seen the U.S. roiled by the 9/11 attacks, the war on terror, its first black president, and the rise of populist and anti-immigrant sentiments. Now, when pollsters first asked the question in January of 2021, a fully 55% of U.S. adults rated themselves as extremely proud to be an American. That jumped to nearly 70% between 2002 and 2004 in the wake of the 9/11 attacks, but started falling from '05 onwards. Since 2018, less than half the U.S. population has been extremely proud to call themselves an American. Now, Gallup's latest results were based on phone interviews conducted in June with more than 1,000 adults across the U.S. Gotta put it out there, guys. Time for a survival tip. Now, we heard about the Australian who was lost at sea for like 3 months. Tim Shattuck. He survived months at sea with his dog Bella before he was rescued. Now, the dailymail.com. A lot of you don't like Daily Mail. I do, because they will print anything. I like it. Because they will print stuff that you know the American mainstream media won't touch with a 10-foot pole. If it's critical of Biden, they're not touching it. If it's critical of his son, Scumbag Hunter. Scumbag Hunter, oh, we don't touch it. We don't want to say anything. As with the Democrats, they won't touch it. They won't even criticize them. Hey, maybe it's just a lack of intestinal fortitude. You know, guts. Anyways, that's why I like the Daily Mail. So the Daily Mail puts this out. Why you should drink turtle blood. Don't drink for the first 24 hours. And at what point you'd have to kill the dog. So after Castaway endures 3 months adrift, expert reveals how you can survive at sea. And I'm going to give you that information right now. So, oh wait, what's that? Cult mom Lori Vallow. She smirks in a mugshot. Yeah, guess what? Your life just turned to hell, sweetheart. You have no idea what's coming your way. Body of missing Goldman Sachs banker. Who cares? I don't. Now, for the most people, it's a nightmare situation, but for Australian Tim Shattuck, came a reality adrift on the ocean, out of sight of land with no hope of rescue. Mr. Shattuck managed to survive 3 months with his dog Bella before being rescued, surviving on nothing more than his own skill and cunning. Now, we all like to think we'd know what to do if we were in a similar situation, but the blunt reality is that most of us absolutely have no idea how to stay alive. That's why you listen to this show. The Jeffers Brief. For preppers and patriots of discerning intellect. So, here in this article, Mail Online has enlisted the help of expert Professor Mike Tipton to learn his surprising survival tips. Here he explains why you shouldn't drink urine, why you should drink turtle blood, and at what point you'd have to contemplate killing the dog. The first key to survival, Professor Tipton says, is to pray you've gone adrift somewhere warm. Otherwise, you'll freeze to death before anything else becomes a concern. Most survival stories tend to come out of the tropics, he says. If you go adrift somewhere else, then you tend not to live long enough to write a book or get on the news. But if you do happen to be somewhere around the equator, then your next and most pressing concern is going to be water. Humans, that's you and I, are recommended around 1.5 liters per day, says Professor Tipton. In a survival situation, then ideally you'd be looking to get 400 milliliters per day. That's not a lot of water. But studies have shown the absolute minimum you'd need to survive is 125 to 200 milliliters, which is around 1/4 of a pint. That's not a lot. May not sound like much, but in the middle of the ocean, it can be very hard to come by, which is where his first unlikely sounding survival tip comes in. Don't drink anything for the first 24 hours. Now, the logic is completely counterintuitive, but studies carried out in the 1950s showed that waiting a full day before a drink actually increases the chances of survival. That's because it tips your body over into crisis mode, triggering hormonal changes, which mean you'll consume less water in the long run. After that, survival depends on drinking the right thing. Now, most of us know not to drink seawater, but Professor Tipton says urine is also a no-no. He adds, the problem is salt, sodium. The human body fluids contain about 0.9% salt. Urine is about 2% and seawater is about 3%. Now your body uses up water, removing the excess salt, so it actually dehydrates your cells faster. Now both seawater and urine can be made drinkable by evaporating them and condensing the vapor down, which Mr. Shattuck is thought to have done using a solar still, if you're lucky enough to have one. Or you could get luckier and drift through a rainstorm, in which case catching the water and keeping it free of contamination will give you a plentiful supply. But if you can't get water that way, there are some unusual sources you can turn to. What you want is any liquid that matches or is lower than the salt content of your own body, Professor Tipton explains, which makes the body fluids of other animals ideal. Fish eyes and spinal fluid are yes. And he says that, as evidenced by Morris and Marilyn Bailey, an English couple who went adrift for 117 days in the Pacific back in the 1970s. The couple said they began craving the eyes of fish and would scarf them down whenever they got the chance, a fact they later claimed was because they contained vitamin C. Professor Tipton is somewhat skeptical of that, and instead thinks the eyes are more useful for their fluids, which can be found in turtle blood. Now, turtles have about 50 milliliters of water in their blood per kilogram of body weight. So, a 20 kilogram animal will give you about 1 liter of water. One thing you shouldn't do, Professor Tipton adds, is to copy the Robertson family, 6 of whom, now this is guys, I'm not making this up, is to copy the Robertson family, 6 of whom survived more than a month adrift in the Pacific while administering saltwater enemas to stay hydrated. This is a bad idea, he says, because the intestines aren't good at absorbing the fluid and also aren't good at filtering out the salt. If worse comes to worse, then you can actually juice a fish. It probably wouldn't be your first resort, Professor Tipton admits, but fish flesh and skin contains drinkable liquid, provided you've got the strength and patience to squeeze them out. Now, humans will die after about 6 days without water, but can survive up to 2 months without food. So eating is much lower on your list of priorities, the professor says. However, if you're at sea long enough, then starvation will become a concern. Now, fatty and sugary foods are best because they're high in calories and, crucially, can be processed by your body without expending precious water. Now, protein, on the other hand, does take some water to be absorbed, which is unfortunate because fish are more or less solid protein. That's true. Here, turtles come in handy once again because they have a layer of fat underneath the shell which help keep the Robertson family alive. Now, if fish and turtles aren't an option, you might have to get creative, as Jose Salvador Alvarenga did when he was cast adrift for 438 days. The longest anyone has survived at sea. Think about that. That's over a year. Alvarenga recalled luring birds to his boat and capturing as many as he could in one go, eating the ones he needed and breaking the wings of the rest so they couldn't fly away and could be killed and eaten later. Think about that. There are also questions around the fate of Alvarenga's crewmate who didn't survive the voyage and whose death the sailor has refused to discuss. Though his exact end remains a mystery, Professor Tipton adds, it is generally not a good idea to eat the person you're with. Ditto any animal companions who happen to be along for the ride, such as dog Bella, who kept Mr. Shattuck company on his boat. Now, sushi is generally better food than dog, Professor Tipton says. But while it would be unwise to kill the dog for food, you may have to finish the unfortunate animal off if water supplies start to run low. Keeping the dog alive is no good if you're both going to die of dehydration, he adds. So don't give up. Mental strength is the last ingredient to be a successful survival, which has to continue even after rescue comes for you. Many survivors find themselves able to endure weeks or months of hardship while in a crisis, only for their health to rapidly decline once they are picked up. This is thought to be because, having been rescued, they effectively give up, handing their fate over to whoever has come to get them. For those cast adrift at sea, that can be dangerous, as the rescue tends to happen hundreds of miles from land and the nearest hospital. There. I just think it's something that you need to understand. If you don't know, I think these are all good ideas. I think these are all good ideas, my friends. That's why I'm telling to him right now. Where are we? Right here? All right. You know what helps me sleep well at night? Physical gold. I'm concerned about what the Biden administration is doing, and I decided to learn more about gold IRAs to help me diversify. Did you know you can buy gold for your IRA or 401k? And gold can't be tracked like digital currency. No one has to know what you're buying, and there's no way to print more. My best resource for gold IRAs is Augusta Precious Metals. Their track record is no less than phenomenal. They have thousands of happy customers, and they are absolute best. They are amazing. Learn why thousands of Americans are getting gold IRAs as part of their retirement portfolios. You need to contact Augusta Precious Metals and get their free guide. I'm serious about this. So text Contra to 68592. Again, text CONTRA to 68592. Contra to 68592, or go to AugustaPreciousMetals.com. That's AugustaPreciousMetals.com.
Have you or someone you know ever had a hard drive crash? Or maybe your cell phone or tablet died, taking all of your pictures with it. You've thought about backing up your data, but all of the plans out there cost too much money for just a little bit of storage space. Well, now there's a solution. Got Backup? That's right, Got Backup will allow you to back up unlimited devices, up to 6 terabytes of data for only $9.97 a month. And that's not all. You can earn commissions by referring friends and family too. Got Backup is the only data storage center that allows you to earn income on your referrals. Check out Got Backup now. Log on to john-jeffers.com. That's john-jeffers.com. Log on now.
Do it. Log on there. Be my customer.
From the DMZ to the NATO front, this is Contra Radio Network.
All right. Hey, you know what? Intelligentsia, one, become my customer, so do log on to john-jeffers.com. How many of us remember when the liberals living on Martha's Vineyard were wetting their pants and having heart failure because, oh my God, it's time to really become a sanctuary city, a sanctuary town. What do we do? We'll call the media. They'll know what to do. Well, Howie Carr over at the Boston Herald has fired a good shot. And there are lucky 28 towns get migrants. And guess who doesn't? I'm going to tell you. Now, the Healy administration has released a list of the 28 cities and towns where it is spending millions on hotels and motels for thousands of handout-demanding illegals arriving from the third world. Oddly, however, almost all the ultra-affluent suburban communities, most loudly committed to celebrating diversity, have thus far been unable to provide suitable free housing for the new non-working classes. The illegals are not being sent to, among other millionaire destinations, Cambridge, Brookline, Newton, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, Chatham, Swampscott, Newburyport, Wellesley, Dover, Sherborne, and Amherst. You begin to get the picture? These melanin-impaired preserves of the beautiful people all have "hate has no home here" signs festooned on every lawn. Yet oddly, they remain somehow unaffected by the Democrats' ongoing fundamental transformation of America into a third world flophouse. To sum it up, the self-proclaimed sanctuary cities and towns are no-shows when it comes to providing sanctuary for the huddled masses yearning to live free on the arm forever. Now, this news about which communities are really bearing the brunt of this invasion came in response to a demand for information from Representative Peter Durant, a Republican from Spencer. Durant, a candidate for the open state Senate seat formerly held by Ann Goby, asked Governor Healy how much money the state is spending on these welfare motels for illegals. The letter from Healy's office didn't address most of Durant's questions, but it did reveal a few interesting facts, including the 24 state communities into which the third world is being imported: Burlington, Chelsea, Chicopee, Concord, Dedham, Greenfield, Holyoke, Kingston, Marlborough, Methven, Norton, Norwood, Peabody, Plymouth, Revere, Saugus, Shrewsbury, Sturbridge, Taunton, West Springfield, Westboro, Woburn, and Worcester. What the hell is the People's Republic of Concord doing on that list? Why is poor Concord being lumped in all things of the MAGA town? Now, I'm sure that the Democrats can explain why it seems only certain types of non-woke communities are being selected for this wondrous opportunity. We've heard all their excuses before. You think Martha's Vineyard last fall, when the 50 amigos were flown in by Governor Ron DeSantis, the National Guard quickly hustled them off the island paradise before they could set up homeless encampments on the Obama, Kerry, and Larry David estates. These pampered pukes who talk the talk always have alibis for not walking the walk. Quote, "We are struggling to not only find physical shelter space, but also shelter providers capable of efficiently connecting families with the robust services necessary for child and family health and well-being and long-term stability," end quote. Shelter providers? You mean hotels, motels? Plenty of those in upscale towns. Wonder what the problem is. Yes, Boston and Lawrence don't have any vacancies either, but haven't they benefited enough already from the Immigration Reform Act of 1965? As of June 29th, Durant was informed the state was housing 1,245 families and a total of 3,853 individuals in hotels and motels. No breakdown on the number of illegals versus American citizens. I asked Durant if he knew how quickly the number of illegal indigents on the dole here had been increasing. A year ago, he said, the state was paying for 15 families. So we go from 15 to 1,245. And how long will these thousands of foreign freeloaders be vacationing here on our dime? Because the current hotel caseload is very new, few families have exited. In fiscal year 23, the average length of stay in emergency assistance was 14 months. And how much will this be costing those of us not in the protected classes who must work for a living? Well, that was among the many questions left unanswered by the Democrat regime on Beacon Hill. However, Taunton Mayor Shauna O'Connell was so angry about the sudden closing of her city's only hotel that she asked for the state's contract with the Clarion Hotel. The mayor sent me the contract yesterday. Initially, when the illegals flooded into the working class city, the 155-room hotel was charging taxpayers $155 per room per night. The state took all 155 rooms. Now the price has been reduced to $123 a night. The contract also includes a feeding rate, $37 a day. That includes $5 for breakfast, $14 for lunch, and $18 for dinner per person. Do the math in case you're a public school victim. You got to do the math. So the feeding rate is, so if you have a family of 4, that's $37. Multiply that times 4. That's the total amount of money they're spending on food to feed one person per day. $37 a day. The cost of the Commonwealth of those last few months of the fiscal year 2023, $2.6 million. The cost for this current year for that single hotel, $10.7 million. And the contract could run for as long as 9 years and 2 months. So much for the 14 months. Of course, does anyone believe that these are all the places the hacks are stashing their beloved new underclass of undocumented Democrats? Aren't illegals also being warehoused on public property, like, say, the military base in Sandwich, formerly known as Otis? And why isn't this incredible celebration of diversity being shared by the communities who so loudly virtue signal their ardor for flooding other people's communities with non-American non-workers? I refer you to a Trump-era statement by the People's Republic of Cambridge, which remains on the city website, headlined, "The City of Cambridge remains committed to being a sanctuary city." Of course it does. As a sanctuary city, Cambridge affirms the basic human rights and dignity of every human being and provides education, health, and other services to all residents of Cambridge, regardless of their immigration status. And the foreigners are extremely grateful to all the trust-funded Harvard legacies in Cambridge. Just ask the Tsarnaevs. Remember the Tsarnaevs? Remember them? Bombers, Boston Marathon. Okay. So Cantabrigians are so committed to being a sanctuary city that if an MS-13 gangbanger should find himself in Harvard Square, a polite metrosexual with a nose ring and purple hair would no doubt direct the amigo to the nearest alien arms, which would probably be in Waltham or maybe Revere. One other point in Maura Henley's contract with the Taunton Hotel, quote, the vendor is required to inquire of a family's preferred language at placement. So to quote the old joke, Press 2 for English. Only it's not nearly as funny as it used to be. I think Howie Carr is right on the money. We here at the Augusta Precious Metals Studios are going to be right back after this.
Hi everyone, Donald Lowry here, and I'm the marketing director for Contra Radio Network. You know what helps me sleep well? Physical gold. Gold IRAs help people diversify. The best gold IRA company is Augusta Precious Metals, with thousands of happy customers. Learn why Americans get gold IRAs. Get Augusta's free guide. Text CONTRA to 68592. That's CONTRA to 68592. Or go to AugustaPreciousMetals.com. That's AugustaPreciousMetals.com. Have you or someone you know ever had a hard drive crash? Or maybe your cell phone or tablet died, taking all of your pictures with it. You've thought about backing up your data, but all of the plans out there cost too much money for just a little bit of storage space. Well, now there's a solution. Got Backup? That's right, Got Backup will allow you to back up unlimited devices, up to 6 terabytes of data for only $9.97 a month. And that's not all. You can earn commissions by referring friends and family too. Got Backup is the only data storage center that allows you to earn income on your referrals. Check out Got Backup now. Log on to john-jeffers.com. That's john-jeffers.com. Log on now. From the DMZ to the NATO front, this is Contra Radio Network.
Yes, and this is the Jeffers Brief. Welcome back to the Augusta Precious Metals Studios. Glad you're here. In case you missed it, Cigna, the health insurance company, you jagoffs. You turds. Health insurance giant Cigna is accused of using an algorithm to reject hundreds of thousands of patients' claims. A new class action lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court in Sacramento, California, alleges the health insurer has been relying on an algorithm called PXDX to review the patient's claims. Now, the technology was able to assess claims in an average time of 1.2 seconds. The suit claims that the algorithm saves Cigna money by denying claims and reduces the company's labor costs by cutting the time needed for doctors to review each claim. It alleges, you fucking jags, it alleges Cigna's actions violate California state law, which requires insurers conduct a thorough, fair, and objective investigation into each patient claim. Sounds reasonable to me, especially if you're paying for it. In a statement to CBS News, the health insurer called the claims highly questionable. Why? Is the actual number higher? The company's CEO and president, David Cordani, who has been in the role since 2009, is among the best paid healthcare executives in the country. The federal lawsuit calls into question the use of the algorithms and artificial intelligence to determine what treatments and tests are medically necessary. Relying on the PXDX system, Cigna's doctors instantly reject claims on medical grounds without ever opening patient files, leaving thousands of patients effectively without coverage and with unexpected bills, the suit states. The scope of this problem is massive. For example, look, do not go to Cigna's headquarters and try to burn them down. Don't do that. I know you're going to want to when you hear this. Over a period of 2 months in 2022, Cigna doctors denied over 300,000 requests for payments using this method, spending an average of just 1.2 seconds reviewing each request. One woman, Suzanne Kisting-Lewin, claims she underwent an ultrasound ordered by her doctor. who is concerned she might have ovarian cancer. If you're a woman, ovarian cancer is very serious. Having any cancer is serious. Ovarian cancer is devastating for women. The test found a cyst on her left ovary, but Cigna denied the claim for the ultrasound and follow-up procedure, claiming neither were medically necessary, leaving her on the hook for $723. Another Cigna user in California, Aisha Smiley, had, get this, it's a vitamin D test to check for a deficiency, which was ordered by her doctor. Cigna denied her claim without giving her an explanation, the suit alleges. Defendants knowingly received and retained wrongful benefits and funds from the plaintiffs and class members, the lawsuit states. I agree. As a direct and proximate result of the defendants' breaches, plaintiffs and class members have suffered and will continue to suffer in the future economic losses, including the benefits owned under the health insurance plans in the millions, the interruption of plaintiffs and class members' businesses, and other general incidental and consequential damages in the amount according to proof at trial. The suit is now asking for damages as well as an order to stop Cigna from continuing its improper and unlawful claim handling practices. It was brought by the Carr-Some law firm, which has previously sued Google parent company Alphabet over its use of AI, claiming the search giant stole data from millions of users to train the program. The suit comes just months after a ProPublica investigation disclosed how the health insurer was using the database to deny claims. So in 2014, the outlet reported that Cigna added a new procedure to PXDX to be flagged for automatic denials. Now, the automatic nervous system testing can determine whether a patient is suffering from nerve damage caused by diabetes or a variety of other autoimmune diseases. By adding the test to the system, the internal documents obtained by ProPublica said the insurer would be able to turn down more than 17,800 claims a year that had previously been covered. The presentation said the denials would create a negative customer experience and a potential for increased out-of-pocket costs. But it would save the company nearly $2.4 million a year in medical costs, so executives approved the measure. One doctor who worked for Cigna also told ProPublica that they sign off on denials generated by PXDX in batches without reviewing individual claims. We literally click and submit, he said. It takes all of 10 seconds to do 50 at a time. With Cigna, ProPublica reports some executives questioned whether rendering such speedy denials satisfied California law. One former executive who helped build the program said this: "We thought it might fall into a legal gray zone," he said. "We sent the idea to legal and they sent it back saying it was okay." Thus far, Cigna is continuing to defend its use of PXDX. Based on our initial research, we cannot confirm that these individuals were impacted by PXDX at all, it said in its statement. Oh, you're going to be confirming it very shortly. I'll tell you what, I hope every personal injury attorney in California has lined Cigna up in their sights. It's time to make them pay. So to be clear, Cigna uses technology to verify that the codes on some of the most common low-cost procedures are submitted correctly based on our publicly available coverage policies. And this is done to help expedite physician reimbursement. It added that the reviews occur after patients have received the treatments and does not result in any denials of care. No, you're making them pay for it when they shouldn't. Oh, jeez. I don't know why I'm going crazy. Knuckleheads. Cigna, drop dead. Well, yeah. From the AP. The FBI has wrongly searched for a U.S. Senator and state senator in Section 702 spy data, court says. And once again, they're going to call Christopher Wray, that worm that runs the FBI. they're going to call him back. Congress will call him back, and Ray will say, well, we wrote a letter. It's not happening anymore. We're doing better. We're not doing it anymore. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Every time you turn around, there's always something the FBI is doing that's wrong, questionable, the whole 9 yards. It never ends with these clowns. So, what are you going to do? Now, some of you don't even know that whether you've been run by 702. You shouldn't. By the way, this reminds me. What is it? Go back. Where is it? Is this it? Yeah, this is what I want to say. Public confidence in the U.S. military hits the lowest point in 2 decades. Only 60% of Americans say they have a great deal of confidence in the armed forces, new survey finds. What are we looking at? Survey said that only 60% of people have a great deal or quite a lot of confidence in the military. Just 60% of the GOP supporters answered positively compared with 91% 3 years ago. The poll highlighted the U.S. poorly executed exit from Afghanistan is one of the reasons for the decline. Yes, this is your woke military. Woke military. Yep, there you go. Now, the State Department quietly released an 87-page report in June condemning the Biden administration's failure to prepare for Afghanistan's rapid collapse at the hands of the Taliban in 2021. Really? The investigation found serious pitfalls in leadership and questions about who was in charge before and during the mayhem. Gallup added, now that the U.S. has completely withdrawn from both Iraq and Afghanistan, the 2 most significant military legacies of the 2001 terrorist attacks on the U.S., confidence in the military has continued to decline among the public. The declines this year were across all party identification groups, with Republicans remaining the most likely to express confidence and independents becoming the least likely. There you go. Now, I want you to remember something, my friends. No matter what poll it is, I don't care what the title is, what the subject is, makes no difference. What you need to understand is this. Whoever is paying for the poll, I promise you, they will get the results that they're looking for, that they want. So if they do a poll that says, do you think the sky is blue? Or, no, let's do it. Do you think the sky is green? They will word it in such a way so that they will come out and say 60% of people think the sky is green. If you pay for the poll, you're going to get something for your money. Got it? You understand? Yes? All right. There. I fired off all I can. We are going to be moving on to the Blessed News Network. Did you know that? That's right. Yours truly will be on the Blessed News Network with the Jeffers Brief. Also, considering I'm taking the lightning round, Dave Kirshner with me. How many of you remember the interview I did with Jake Lane? He's a January 6th prisoner of the D.C. Gulag. Remember that interview? I only did it a couple months ago. Guess what, my friends? Guess what? I didn't know it at the time. Jake Lane is the CEO of the Blessed News Network. Check him out, BNN. The Blessed News Network. We're finishing up some stuff here. So we're taking Contra Radio Network to the Blessed News Network. There'll be 2 shows there. So there you have it. There it is. So until next time, I am John Jeffers. Thanks for listening and watching. Hey guys, be my customer. John-Jeffers.com. Be my customer. Also check out ContraRadioNetwork.com, our website. Till next week. Be good, be safe, be prepared.
Time.